Hey, good morning. My name is Charles Walking Child. I'm running for the United States Senate. And it is a beautiful day. We have 33 days until the election on June 2nd. One of the major questions that I'm always asked or messaged is whether or not I believe in God. And that's a big thing. That's a problem with a lot of people in America today, is that they utilize God. I always ask, which God are you talking about? Now, as a Native American, and I know a lot of my Native brothers and sisters out here will know exactly what I am talking about, we don't call him God. He's in our songs. We call him Semangtu in Cree, Semangtu Kusa, his son. Kakinachita, the Holy Spirit. Now, we were forbidden to actually say his name. The true name of him is Yahuwah and Yahshua. They are in our native songs. Now, like I said, we have 33 days until the election. You have a choice. I've been asked, what is my platform? My platform is less government. I'm not interested on the far left thieves, which they are. I'm not interested on the far right super rich. What I am interested in is all of Montana and making Montana united and strong and preparing for food sovereignty in Montana. Now, some of the ranchers and farmers and some bankers that I talk to, other politicians in other states, think that is a great idea. And what I tell you is 95% of the food that's brought into Montana is brought in processed. In other words, we have no sustainability. So one of my main goals of preservation is to establish a meat processing plant, a feed plant, and a dry corn field for the state of Montana, and I'll be working with local state legislatures on that. I'm not going to appoint a staff of out-of-staters. I'm going to appoint a staff of small ranchers and farmers. And the reason being is I want them to own it. I want to allocate money for them to own it, forming a co-op and providing good food right here in Montana. Well, how are we going to do that? One, the state of Montana has to introduce their own USDA with their own regulations to ensure that this program is successful. The other thing that they're going to have to do is they're going to have to introduce a bill also requiring all these large corporations that are operating in Montana to serve that food in their facilities. That's sustainability. You know, this country is in quite a mess. You have several politicians that are not seeking re-elections. You have our military, our Coast Guard, who is not being paid. You have the money from the tariffs being distributed back to the retailers. Now, I firmly believe that that money, which is $160 billion, ought to be distributed to the state governments for each government to start preparing for sovereignty and survival. Imagine once this federal government falls or hits a financial crisis, what's the societies or the local communities going to do? All of a sudden, there'll be no food being shipped into Montana. There'll be starvation. Now, you have to prepare. We need a strong Montana. That's why I say Montana strong, Montana united. This will create jobs right here in Montana. We could work with our adjacent states, Idaho, and their potatoes. Those are the basic food elements that we need for survival. Now, you're getting a lot of hate and rhetoric, especially from people in the religious sector. Mind I tell you, there's not going to be no religion that'll appear before the Creator. Imagine during the Great Flood. Supposedly, he only saved one guy, one family. Now, that ought to tell you something. That ought to really tell you something. That if you claim to have a strong religious belief, And religion is abomination, to the Creator. There was no word. He spoke everything into existence. He spoke and gave us dominion over the earth and all creatures. And that includes the devil himself. If you know him by the devil, we have a different name for him. Now, I've also been asked about reservations. Which reservation am I from? Well, a reservation was created by the government, just like religion was created by the human mind. He lives within each and every one of us. And if you seek him on a religious mind, you'll never achieve true grace and love. Keep that in mind. If you seek him in your spiritual being, he will reveal a lot of knowledge to you, wisdom and understanding, spiritual. Now, it doesn't matter to me whether or not I win. It is not about winning. Maybe I'm just delivering a message to the people of Montana, because I know regardless of race, a lot of people are suffering. They're having a tough time. Think about that. Not just, it just isn't the Caucasians or the white. The Native Americans been living in that depression ever since the creation of reservations. Now, I want to bring freedom, joy, and life to everybody. And one of the things that does that is food, sustainability. So I would encourage you to share this video with your friends and family. We are dealing with principalities, those thieves on the far left who constantly steal your money, and the super rich that have invaded Montana. Now, I don't care if you're from out of state and moved into Montana, but we got to preserve Montana. This isn't a playground for the super rich Republicans. So I just want you to know that whether I'm Republican or Democrat, I chose Republican. And the reason why I chose Republican is because they claim pro-life and a strong belief in the Creator, God. They don't even call him by his real name. Now be careful which God you're calling upon if you want to gain spiritual strength, because there are many. Just like in our native culture, there are many spirits. I want you to know that we're right under your nose. Anishinaabe. That means God's first, the Creator's first, the Almighty's first. That's why we refer to him as Se Mung Tu. It isn't which family you are, how super rich you are, which religion you are. When you get the opportunity, should you get the opportunity, you're going to have to acknowledge him. And I'll tell you what, right now, the way I see people running around, oh God this, God that, spewing hate. Now, that ought to tell you. You better be more specific on which God you're talking about. Are you talking about the Almighty Creator? Or are you talking about the other gods? You can find peace. You can find enjoyment. And that's what his intention was. So I don't want to be asked no more questions about which I believe. Because I'll tell you what, whether you're Catholic, Protestant, or your religious cult, you're not going to see him. That is the truth. Think about that in the days when Uriel whispered into the ear and nobody believed him in the last cleansing. There's been many cleansings before. He is the creator of languages, so respect languages. He's the creator of people. I just want you to know that. Each and every day I will be telling a story. I had a book written on my computer, about 800 pages explaining from the beginning of time to now. And there is no confusion in that. And it was destroyed because I was not given authority to write or publish it. I was only given authority to speak it. like he spoke us into existence. So pay attention, look at it, look at all the waste, and look at all these politicians jumping out of Washington because they know exactly. Steve Daines knows, and Ryan Zinke knows. Ryan Zinke, Huya. Huya is a Native American term that the Marines use right now. But that is the last portion of his name, because in our Native culture, we use that on the Miami Trail. And when you say them words, you're saying you're being prepared to meet your maker. And forgiveness. That's what that means. So, Huya! Let's make America strong. Let's unite America. And I'll tell you what, I need your help. Share my videos, share my campaigns, call your friends and family, have them follow me, and have them get registered for an election, June 2nd. Should I not make it, the story ends there, but you'll have 33 days of story. Thank you very much, and enjoy your day. Many blessings to all of you. Thank you.